The waves of anxiety, emotions so deeply human yet often misunderstood, can be compared to the very strokes of a master swordsman's blade. Sharp, penetrating, yet essential to mastery. At first glance, anxiety seems debilitating. It's that knot in the stomach, the restlessness of the mind, the sleepless nights staring at the ceiling. It holds people captive, making them prisoners of their own thoughts. For many, anxiety is an obstacle, a barrier to living a full life. But what if I told you that through the fog of this overwhelming emotion, we can find moments of clarity, catalysts for growth, and even sources of unparalleled motivation? Enter the world of Miyamoto Musashi, a name that resonates not only in the annals of Japan's rich history, but also in the hearts and minds of warriors, thinkers, and seekers around the world. In the legends of Musashi, there is a lesser-known narrative, that of a young Musashi whose life was far from linear. Growing up without the guiding hand of his parents and thrust into a world of responsibility and expectations, Musashi's first encounters with the world were filled not with the glories of triumph, but with the poignant lessons of defeat and the heavy weight of doubt. A Stanford University psychology professor has conducted studies that reveal how childhood trauma, when properly processed, can become a catalyst for developing extraordinary resilience. His findings show that individuals who face early adversity often develop greater adaptability. These moments, filled with raw emotion and inner turmoil, laid the foundation for his introspective journey. But rather than being intimidated by these feelings, Musashi took them as clues. Every anxious thought, every uncertain step became an opportunity for self-evaluation and growth. Just as steel must pass through the chaos of a forge to emerge as a blade, Musashi's internal adversities acted as the crucible for his evolution. Entering Musashi's peak chapter, it's easy to imagine him as the indomitable force he's often portrayed as. However, beneath his calm demeanor and armored confidence lay the subtle undertones of anxiety that continued to pulse through his veins. Rather than reject it, Musashi channeled these restless energies as catalysts, pushing him further along his path. A neuroscience researcher at Harvard Medical School has discovered that moderate levels of anxiety can increase focus and performance. His studies show that anxiety activates the sympathetic nervous system, releasing neurotransmitters that enhance attention and preparedness for action. There's a delicate dance between complacency and ambition. Where many might have become complacent about their achievements, Musashi's underlying anxiety drove him to push boundaries, never truly resting on his laurels. This wasn't the paralyzing anxiety that keeps one rooted in fear, but an invigorating kind that spurred him to action. It whispered to him during silent nights, reminding him that there was always another horizon, another challenge waiting just out of sight. As the chapters of Musashi's life unfolded, a discernible pattern emerged. His every move seemed calculated, every decision deliberate. But what gave rise to this meticulous approach? Dig deeper, and you'll discover that beneath this careful orchestration lies his familiarity with anxiety. Rather than allowing it to hinder him, Musashi converted these feelings into a potent weapon of foresight. A military strategy expert at West Point Academy explains that the most effective commanders are those who can anticipate adverse scenarios. His research indicates that the ability to visualize potential failures is crucial to successful strategic planning. The battlefield is a realm of uncertainty. From sudden shifts in opponent strategies to unexpected environmental factors, unpredictability lurks around every corner. However, Musashi's familiarity with anxiety acted like an internal alarm, making him intensely aware of potential pitfalls and challenges. It was as if anxiety whispered secrets of the unknown in his ear, urging him to be ever vigilant. Emerging from the shadows of Musashi's strategic foresight came an emblematic representation of his inner dichotomy, the Niten Ichi-ryu, or the double sword style. A masterful blend of offense and defense, this style is symbolic of Musashi's journey with anxiety and his relentless search for balance. a clinical psychologist at the University of Oxford who studies the relationship between fear and courage, has found that the most resilient individuals don't eliminate fear, but rather learn to coexist with it. His findings show that this coexistence creates a state of relaxed alertness, ideal for performance under pressure. At the heart of Niten Ichi-ryu lies a dance between two contrasting entities, much like the dance between fear and courage. One sword, representing the immediacy of action, was often driven by the impulse born of fear. The other, symbol of patience and deliberate movement, was rooted in courage and precision. Musashi, through countless battles and introspection, realized that it wasn't about overcoming fear, but rather coexisting with it. Anxiety, with its sharp sting, became the spur for a sword, inciting speed and instinctive reactions. As the echoes of clashing swords faded, Musashi often retreated into the embrace of solitude. Far from the tumultuous arenas of battle, he sought refuge in stillness, be it dense forests or secluded caves. This deliberate isolation was not an escape from society, but a journey inward, seeking clarity amidst internal chaos. A neuroscientist at the University of Cambridge, researching the effects of solitary meditation, has discovered that regular periods of introspection reorganize neural networks, enabling better emotional processing and decision-making. Her studies show that structured solitude is essential for the development of wisdom. Within the silent walls of introspection, Musashi struggled with his anxiety. Rather than allowing it to consume him, he chose to talk to it. Each moment of solitude became an opportunity to understand the root of his fears and apprehensions. Anxiety in the silence of isolation transformed from a threatening shadow into a guide. It showed him areas for improvement, revealed hidden vulnerabilities, and highlighted strengths he hadn't been aware of. From the silent precincts of self-reflection, Musashi emerged with a profound realization. Comfort was the enemy of mastery. While many sought training terrain that facilitated ease, Musashi deliberately chose the opposite. From rain-soaked forests to snow-capped peaks, he placed himself in the most hostile environments, transforming the elements themselves into his training partners. A performance psychology researcher at the University of Michigan has found that individuals who deliberately expose themselves to controlled discomfort develop greater stress tolerance and adaptability. His experiments demonstrate that this stress inoculation strengthens both physical and mental resilience. These extreme landscapes were not mere backdrops, but active participants in his training. Battling howling winds or maintaining balance on slippery terrain, Musashi realized that nature's unpredictability mirrored life's uncertainties and the anxiety they bring. Each challenging session was an external representation of his internal battles, pushing him to confront, adapt, and eventually master his anxieties. In the intricate dance of life, where challenges and adversities swirl around us, anxiety often plays a central role. But as we learn through Musashi's life, it becomes clear that this emotion, typically seen as an enemy, can actually be an ally. His legacy is not just about being an unparalleled swordsman, it is about the resilience of the human spirit in the face of inner turmoil. A professor of positive psychology at the University of Pennsylvania, who studies the concept of post-traumatic growth, has found that individuals who learn to reinterpret their anxieties as signs of growth develop exceptional levels of personal and professional fulfillment. Musashi's experiences lead us to question our perceptions. Do we let anxiety dominate us, or do we harness its energy, channeling it into our ambitions? Musashi turned his anxiety into a sharp blade, cutting through doubts and propelling himself to legendary status. For us, the message is clear: embrace the uncomfortable, challenge the norms, and let anxiety be the fire that tempers your steel. As we move forward, we carry with us Musashi's lessons, seeing anxiety not as an insurmountable mountain, but as a stepping stone to achieving our own brand of greatness.